Hello students, so today we will be starting with a new chapter. The new chapter name is Changing Cultural Tradition. This chapter is present in the history book of class 11 and today we will be starting with this chapter. So here, the revival of the Italian cities. Now we are studying about the changing cultural traditions. Now what are the cultural traditions that are persisting in the Italian cities? So here, after the fall of the Western Roman Empire, many of the towns that had been political and cultural centers in Italy fell into ruin. There was no unified government, and the Pope in Rome, who was sovereign in his own state, was not a strong political figure. You see, here there is the fall of the Western Roman Empire. After the fall of the Western Roman Empire, what happened? The urban centers, the market, which were the centers of cultural and political, they completely fell into ruins, which means they came to an end. There is an extinction. So as a result, there was no unified government and the Pope in Rome was the sovereign. You see, there was the Pope. So the Pope doesn't have that kind of a political figure. The Pope doesn't have that kind of a political figure. Also, as a result, there is no unified government. Everything came to an end. Everything was in the end or on the verge of the end, you can say that. So, while Western Europe was being reshaped by feudal bonds and unified under the Latin Church and the Eastern Europe under the Byzantine Empire and Islam was creating a common civilization farther west, Italy was weak and fragmented. However, it was this development that helped in the revival of Italian culture. You see here, we are talking about the Western Europe. The Western Europe was reshaped by the feudal bonds. It was reshaped by the feudal bonds, first of all, which means a bond which resulted on the coming of the all countries. In the coming of the all countries, or you can say with the help of the taxation process also, there was a bond. So all the Western Europe was reshaped by a feudal bond, and also they were unified under the Latin Church. So there was a church. You see, all the Italian countries are under Christianism. So as a result, they were being reshaped or they were being bonded by the Latin Church. Also, the Eastern Europe under the Byzantine Empire. Now, very, very important, there come the Byzantine Empire and the Islamic Empire. The Byzantine Empire and Islamic Empire was the further civilization. They were creating the further civilization. Though Italy was weak and fragmented, it was the development that helped in the revival of the Italian culture. So after the coming of the Byzantine Empire and the Islamic Empire, as a result, what had happened? During that time, there was the revival of the Italian culture. Slowly, slowly, the Italian culture was reviving. Also, you see, during that time, Italy was weak and fragmented. Now, here you see one thing about the Byzantine Empire and the Islam Empire. So, the Byzantine and Islam Empire is on the west. And here the Italy was very weak and fragmented. But slowly, slowly, after the coming of these empires only, the Italy was developing during that time. With the expansion of trade between the Byzantine Empire and the Islamic country, the ports on the Italian coast revived from the 12th century as the Mongols opened up trade with China via the Silk Route and as trade with Western countries also increased. Now, the expansion of trade. You see, the expansion of trade further added. The expansion of trade further increased with the help of the Byzantine Empire and the Islamic countries. Also, on the other hand, due to the expansion of the trade only, during that time there was the revival of the Italian coast. There was the revival of the Italian coast, and by the 12th century, what had happened? The Mongols opened up trading with China. The Mongols opened up trading with China, and slowly, slowly, via the Silk Road only, the trade has occurred with the European countries. Now, Mongols opened up with China for the trading system. As a result, the China is also opening up within the Silk Route. There is a famous route known as the Silk Route through which the trading is being carried out, and here they are opening up with the Western countries of Italy. So with the Western countries of Italy or the European countries only, the trading system is expanding. Italian towns played a central role and thus saw themselves as an independent city-state. Now here we are talking about the Italian towns. Now Italian towns played the central role. Italian towns played a central role and saw themselves as an independent city-state. Now here the Italian towns played a central role as an independent city-state. You see, before Italian towns are under the monarchy empire, it was under the imperialism. So after that, what had happened? After the trading was increased and expanded, what had happened? They have considered themselves as a separate state or a separate independent city-state. Now, One of the most vibrant cities was Venice. Very, very important. Here comes the Venice, and another was Genoa. You see, Venice in Italy is one of the most beautiful city, and here comes Genoa as well. They were different from other parts of Europe. The rich merchants and bankers actively participated in governing the city, and this helped the idea of citizenship strike a root. Now, the rich merchants and the bankers. Here, the rich merchants and bankers are known to be the noble people, and they were participating in the government. They were participating in the government in the city, and this also helps the idea of citizenship. During that time, most of the people never used to know the idea of citizenship, but slowly, the idea of citizenship was expanding, which means equal rights are being preferred to each and every individual. So this is the revival of the Italian cities, that how Italian cities was becoming independent during that time. And now here we come into this page. So our academy is opening new courses for high secondary arts and commerce students. And if you want to know more about our courses, then you can join the official WhatsApp group. In the official WhatsApp group, you will be knowing the daily class updates, important announcements, also the course details and notification, exam alerts and study material. And if you want to join the official WhatsApp group, then you have to click the link on the description section. After clicking the link, you will be joining the official WhatsApp group. Also, if you want to know more of the courses, then you can contact us in this number 8638391721. Now, universities and humanism. Now, what do you understand by the universities and humanism? You see, during that time, humanism is equal to humanities. Those subjects were coming. Now, how they were actually being originating and coming during that time? The earliest universities have been set up in Italian towns. The universities of Padua and Bologna had been centers of legal studies from the 11th century. Now here, earliest university, most of the earliest university was actually opened up in the Italian cities. During that time, the famous universities of the Padua and Bologna. So there the legal studies was mostly common. Legal studies means all kind of subjects, all kinds of theories are under the legal studies, and from the 11th century only people are studying this legal studies. Commerce being the chief activity in the city, there was an increasing demand for lawyers and notaries to write and interpret rules and written agreement, without which trade on a large scale was not possible. Now here commerce was the most common part. Now how commerce became the common subject? Just because there was trading activity, and due to the trading activity, commerce subject came into existence. Also, on the other hand, commerce is the chief activity. As a result, there was increasing demand for lawyers and notaries. Increasing demand was for the lawyers and notaries, which means they will be making the agreement and people will be signing them. With the help of this agreement only, the trading system will continue. Now, law was therefore a popular subject of study, but there was now a shifting emphasis. It was studied in the context of earlier Roman culture. You see, during that time, law was the most popular subject. But here in this law also, there are common subjects regarding the Roman culture. Now they will be studying about the Roman culture as well, which means the context of the Roman culture is added in the law. But Francesco Petrarch represented this change. To Petrarch, entire antiquity was distinctive civilization, which could be best understood through the actual works of the ancient Greeks and Romans. Now you see, earlier Roman culture shouldn't only be in existence. It shouldn't be added only in the law, but other cultures must be added, other subjects must be added. Now, what are the other subjects? You see, according to Francesco Petrarch, Francesco Petrarch is an educationist. You can say how much I remember about him. Francesco Petrarch was an educationist and philosopher. So during that time, he represented a change. What was the change? To Petrarch, antiquity was a distinctive civilization. He wanted to give the education of distinctive civilization, which means the study of civilization should come into existence, which could be best understood through the actual works of the ancient Greeks and Romans. Now, if I talk about the distinctive civilization, the distinctive civilization is mostly common with the ancient Greeks and the Romans, which means the ancient Greeks and the Romans are very much in advance of the advanced civilization. During that time, you see, we have heard about the civilization in India, Pakistan, you can say the Harappan civilization, the Indus Valley civilization. But in the European countries, the Greeks and Romans are very much common to the civilization. From them only the civilization came into existence. Now, the educational program implied that there was much to be learned which religious teaching alone cannot give. This was the culture which historians in the 19th century were to label humanism. Now, during that time, cultural education, religious education was very much into a common term. It was very much into a common term, but alone this cannot give us much education. Alone this cannot give us much knowledge. So, as a result, this was the culture which historians in the 19th century was to label humanism. Now, during that time, as cultural education, religious education alone cannot be in existence. So as a result, a new word came. A new word came is humanism, which means another type of teaching must come into existence. Now, what is the another type of teaching? This is known as the humanism. During that time, humanism became the most common term. By the end of the early 15th century, the term humanist was used for masters who taught grammar, rhetoric, poetry, history, and moral philosophy. Now, by the early 15th century, what happened? The term humanist came into existence. By the early 15th century, the term humanist came into existence and it was used for masters. Those who want to pursue master's degree, that time they are studying about humanist. They are studying about humanist. Also, in the humanist subject, they were taught grammar, rhetoric, poetry, history, and moral philosophy. So here the humanist or the humanism term came into existence. Also, you can say the subject humanities, our course humanities came from the term humanistus. Now, the Latin word humanitas, which means humanities, was derived, had been used many centuries ago. It's ago. Many centuries ago, the Roman lawyer and essayist Cicero, a contemporary Julius Caesar, to mean culture. Now, the Latin word humanitas, the Latin word from where the humanities came into existence, derived centuries ago. It derived centuries ago, and here much of the term has influenced the other philosophers and the other educationists as well. First of all, the Roman lawyer and essayist Cicero. Here came the Roman lawyer and essayist Cicero. He was much influenced by the term humanities, and also the contemporary Julius Caesar. Everybody is aware about Julius Caesar. So Julius Caesar also meant culture regarding this humanities. This revolutionary ideas attracted attention in many other universities, particularly in the newly established university in Petrarch's own hometown of Florence. Till the end of the 13th century, the cities had not made a mark of trade or of learning, but things changed dramatically in the 15th century. Now, this revolutionary idea, you see, during that time, the revolutionary ideas was becoming very much common. The revolutionary ideas becoming very much in common, so as a result it had attracted a lot of public. All of the people were attracted with those revolutionary ideas, and they have established newly university. Now, what are the new university? It is in the Petrarch's own hometown of Florence. In Florence, you see Petrarch, Francesco Petrarch, in his hometown only the new university has been established. Till the end of the 13th century, this city has made a mark of trade or of learning. Now you see, as the university has been established, that center is known, the mark of the trade and learning. Slowly, that city was becoming more developed city during that time. And the things also dramatically changed. During that time, things were also been changing. What development and civilization during the 15th century? A city is known by its great citizen as much as its wealth, and Florence had come to be known because of Dante Alighieri, a layman who wrote on religious themes, and Giotto, an artist who painted lifelike poetry. Now, a city is known by its great citizen. If I talk about a city is known by its great citizen. Now, who are known to be the great citizen? The people who are educated enough and have wealth. Also, on the other hand, Florence has come to become one. Florence has come to become one because of Dante Alighieri. Now, Dante Alighieri is a poet. Dante Alighieri is a poet. He has written many much books on the religious themes. He has written many much books on the religious themes. Also, on the other hand, Giotto. Now, Giotto is a painter. He also belonged from Florence. So, Giotto was an artist who painted portraits. He was very much specialized in drawing portraits, you can say. From then, it was developed as the most exciting intellectual city in Italy and as the center of artistic creativity. Now, Florence. Florence slowly became the intellectual city and also the city of creativity. The term Renaissance man is often used to describe a person with many interests and skills who were well known during that time. Very important word, Renaissance. Renaissance men. Now, who are called to be as the Renaissance men? Now, you see, we have heard about the term Renaissance period. Renaissance period is all about culture and creativity. During that time, there were many poets, many artists, and many type of writer were there who used to define their own productivity, who used to define their own creativity. They are known to be as the Renaissance men. Renaissance man means the individual with culture, the individual with creativity. So they have their own interests and skills, which were well known during that time. Their own interests and skills were very much famous during that time. So that period was also called to be known as the Renaissance period, or you can say the individuals are known to be as the Renaissance men. As we have come into this page, so if you want to know more of the courses regarding our institute, as our institute is opening new courses for humanities and commerce students. And if you want to know more, then you have to join the official WhatsApp group. And in the official WhatsApp group, you will be getting the daily class updates, important announcement, course details and notification, exam alerts and study material. And if you want to join the official WhatsApp group, then you have to click on the link on the description section. By clicking the link on the description section, you will be joining the official WhatsApp group. And if you want to know more of the courses, then you can contact us in this number 8638391721. And I hope so you have understood regarding the subject topic, and thank you for watching my video.